What if everything you've been desperately trying to control has never been yours to control in the first place? What if the very sense of you that feels in control is itself an illusion, a story told by the mind to create the appearance of separation and autonomy? Look around you. The breath entering and leaving your body. Are you consciously controlling it, or is it happening to you? The thoughts that arise in your mind, do you choose them, or do they simply appear? The beating of your heart, the digestion of your food, the blinking of your eyes, who is the controller behind these processes? Today, we're not offering comfort through spiritual platitudes or promising techniques to gain more control over your life. Instead, we're inviting you into a radical inquiry that may dissolve the very foundation upon which your sense of self is built. We're here to explore the possibility that control itself is the grandest illusion and that freedom awaits beyond it. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes if it's safe to do so. Feel the weight of your body against the surface, supporting it. Notice the sensations of contact, pressure, temperature. Now, notice the thoughts that appear in your mind. They might be evaluating these words, planning your day, or commenting on this experience itself. But ask yourself, are you choosing these thoughts? Or do they simply arise unbidden from nowhere? When you try to control your thoughts, to stop thinking, or to think specific thoughts, what happens? There may be a temporary appearance of control, but soon enough, thoughts flow as they will, like a river following its natural course. Notice the emotions that accompany certain thoughts, the tightening in your chest with worry, the lightness that comes with anticipation. Are you creating these sensations, or are they simply happening? Now, the crucial question, who is the you that believes it's in control? Is it your body, your mind, your thoughts? Or is it something else entirely? A presence, an awareness that witnesses it all but controls nothing. This awareness, the pure knowing that registers all experience, has been with you your entire life. It was there in your earliest childhood memory. It's here now, reading these words. It will be there in your final moments. Yet this awareness never changes, never controls, never resists. It simply is. What if you are not the character in the story trying to control life, but the screen on which the entire movie plays? What if you are not the wave fighting against the current, but the ocean itself? From our earliest moments, we're conditioned to believe in a specific narrative, that we are separate individuals navigating through a world that exists independently of us. We're taught that success, happiness, and security come from learning to control our environment, our bodies, our minds, and other people. This conditioning runs deep. It forms the very foundation of how we perceive ourselves and the world. We believe we are the doers, the choosers, the deciders. We believe we have free will. We believe we control our thoughts, our actions, our futures. But upon closer inspection, this entire framework begins to crumble. Consider your next thought. Can you know what it will be before it appears? Can you decide which emotions will arise when you face a challenge? Can you choose when you'll feel hungry, tired, inspired, or afraid? The truth is that life happens through you, not by you. Your heartbeat, breathing, digestion, and thousands of biochemical processes occur without your input. Your thoughts and emotions appear spontaneously. Your decisions emerge from a complex interplay of genetic predisposition, past conditioning, present circumstances, and countless factors beyond your awareness. What we call control is actually recognition after the fact. The mind notices an action has occurred or a decision has been made and then claims, "I did that." It's like taking credit for the sunrise. At the center of this illusion stands the concept of a separate self, an independent entity with boundaries that distinguish me from not me. This self feels like the controller, the experiencer, the center of the universe. It believes it has a past and a future. It identifies with certain thoughts, feelings, and experiences while rejecting others. But what happens when we look for this controller? When we search for the I that supposedly runs the show? We find thoughts about I, but are you those thoughts, or the awareness of them? We find feelings associated with I, but are you those feelings, or the awareness of them? We find sensations that seem to locate I in the body, but are you those sensations, or the awareness of them? The harder we look for this separate self, this controller, the more it recedes from view. Like trying to grab a mirage or catch your own shadow, the separate self cannot be found because it was never there to begin with. What we find instead is a process, a flowing, ever-changing movement of life experiencing itself through this particular body-mind. No solid center, no fixed identity, no permanent controller. You might wonder why this illusion of control persists so tenaciously. The answer lies in our evolutionary history. Early humans who believed they could control their environment, who planned, predicted, and manipulated their surroundings, were more likely to survive and pass on their genes. The illusion of control reduced anxiety and encouraged action. It provided a sense of safety in an unpredictable world. It allowed humans to form complex societies based on the belief that we could determine our collective future. But what began as a useful survival mechanism has become the source of our deepest suffering. The more desperately we cling to control, the more we suffer when reality inevitably fails to conform to our expectations. We try to control our aging bodies only to watch them change despite our efforts. We try to control other people only to damage our relationships. We try to control our thoughts and emotions only to find them more turbulent than before. We try to control the future only to be repeatedly surprised by what unfolds. The paradox is striking. Our pursuit of control actually increases our suffering. The tighter we grip, the more life slips through our fingers. Consider a radical possibility. What if reality itself is fundamentally uncontrollable because it isn't what we think it is? What if, instead of a collection of separate objects and beings interacting with each other, reality is a seamless, undivided movement, like an infinite ocean expressing itself as countless waves? From this perspective, trying to control reality is like one wave trying to control another wave. Both are expressions of the same ocean, temporary forms with no independent existence. Modern science has been steadily moving toward this understanding. Quantum physics reveals that at the subatomic level, there are no solid objects, only probabilities and relationships. Ecology shows us that no organism exists in isolation. Everything is interconnected in a complex web of relationships. Neuroscience suggests that what we experience as reality is actually a model created by the brain, a useful but limited interpretation of something far more complex. Even our sense of making choices may be an after-the-fact interpretation. Studies show that the brain activity associated with decisions begins before we're consciously aware of making a choice. The I that feels it's deciding may be taking credit for processes already in motion. None of this means that life is predetermined or fatalistic. Rather, it points to something far more mysterious and liberating. What we are is not the limited entity that believes it's in control, but the boundless awareness in which all experience arises. So what happens when we see through the illusion of control? Does life become chaotic, meaningless, or passive? Quite the opposite. When the burden of control is lifted, something remarkable occurs. Life begins to flow through us with greater ease and intelligence. Without the constant interference of a separate self trying to manipulate experience according to its preferences, a natural wisdom emerges. This wisdom doesn't belong to you as a separate entity. It's the same intelligence that knows how to beat your heart, grow your nails, and heal your wounds. It's the intelligence of life itself. Without the illusion of control, spontaneous, appropriate action arises. This isn't passivity or fatalism, it's responsiveness, free from the distorting lens of a separate controller. It's life living itself through this particular form, unhindered by the fictional me that thought it was in charge. Consider how effortlessly you caught a ball as a child before you learned to try. How naturally you responded to music before you worried about looking good. How easily conversation flowed before you became self-conscious about what to say. The greatest athletes, artists, and innovators often describe moments of peak performance as times when they disappeared and something greater moved through them. They speak of being in the zone, a state where there is action but no actor, creativity but no creator, movement but no mover. This is not a state to be achieved through effort. It's what remains when the illusion of a separate controller falls away. Now, you might be wondering, how can we begin to recognize and release the illusion of control? Not by trying to control it, that would only reinforce the illusion, but by direct investigation and gradual surrender. Here are 4 contemplative practices that can help reveal the nature of control and what lies beyond it. First, become a scientist of your own experience. Set a reminder to pause several times each day and ask, am I controlling my thoughts right now, or are they appearing by themselves? Am I controlling my emotions, or are they arising spontaneously? Am I controlling my sensations, or am I simply aware of them? What evidence do I have that I am the controller of this experience? Don't try to arrive at a particular answer. Simply observe with genuine curiosity. Notice what happens when you look for the controller. Is there actually someone in charge, or is there only the belief in someone being in charge? This practice gradually weakens the automatic assumption of being a controller without requiring you to believe or disbelieve anything. It's an empirical investigation into the nature of your own experience. Second, when you make a choice or take an action, pause to investigate what led to it. Why did you choose what you did for breakfast this morning? Because you were hungry for that particular food. Why were you hungry for that food? Perhaps because of biological signals, past conditioning, what was available, what you saw on social media yesterday. Why did you have those particular preferences? Because of your genetics, your upbringing, your culture, your recent experiences, countless influences you're not even aware of. Follow this thread as far back as you can. Notice how every thought, feeling, and action arises from an infinite web of causes and conditions. Nothing stands alone. Nothing comes from a separate self. Even the sense of being a chooser is itself a product of countless factors beyond your control. This practice doesn't deny the experience of choice, but reveals its interdependent nature. It shows how your choices emerge from the totality of life rather than from a separate controller. Third, for one day or even just 1 hour, try living as if you have no control. This doesn't mean becoming passive or irresponsible. It means fully participating in life while recognizing that you are not the doer. When you eat, don't try to eat. Allow eating to happen. When you walk, don't try to walk. Allow walking to happen. When you speak, don't try to find the right words. Allow speaking to happen. If decisions need to be made, allow them to emerge. Trust that the same intelligence that keeps your heart beating knows how to respond to life's challenges. Notice what happens when you stop trying to control your experience and instead allow yourself to be lived by life. Is there more struggle or less? More confusion or more clarity? More anxiety or more peace? This practice reveals the effortless nature of being when the illusion of control is temporarily set aside. Fourth, set aside 10-15 minutes to sit quietly and shift your attention from the contents of experience to the awareness in which all experience appears. Notice that thoughts, emotions, sensations, perceptions all come and go, but the awareness of them remains constant. Notice that this awareness doesn't control what appears in it, just as a mirror doesn't control what it reflects. Notice that this awareness has no boundaries, no center, no periphery. It's not located anywhere in particular. Rest as this boundless awareness, neither controlling nor resisting whatever arises within it. When you notice yourself getting caught in thoughts or trying to control your experience, gently recognize that impulse as another appearance in awareness and return to resting as the aware space itself. This practice reveals your true nature as the open, spacious awareness that witnesses but doesn't control the flow of experience. As the illusion of control gradually dissolves, a profound shift occurs in how life is experienced. This shift can't be adequately captured in words, but here are some signposts of what may emerge. A deep sense of trust in life itself, beyond the mind's concepts of good and bad. A natural compassion that arises not from moral obligation, but from recognizing all beings as expressions of the same undivided reality. A lightness of being. The heavy burden of trying to control life is lifted. Spontaneous, appropriate action that flows from the totality of circumstances, rather than from a separate controller. A profound peace that doesn't depend on external conditions. A playful engagement with life, like participating in a dance rather than trying to direct it. An intimacy with all experience. Nothing is other, nothing is separate. A recognition that what you are is not limited to the body-mind, but is the boundless awareness in which all experience appears. This is not a state to be achieved or maintained. It's the natural condition that reveals itself when the illusion of control falls away. It doesn't make you special or superior. It simply allows you to be what you already are, unburdened by the exhausting pretense of being in control. The greatest irony is that in surrendering the illusion of control, life becomes more vibrant, more meaningful, and more beautiful than it ever could be when viewed through the distorting lens of separation and control. The invitation is not to take these words on faith, but to investigate your own experience. Look deeply into the nature of control, the nature of the self that believes it's in control, and the boundless awareness in which all appearances arise. What you discover may transform everything. If something in these words has resonated with you, if you've glimpsed even momentarily the possibility of a freedom beyond control, I invite you to take one small step in the next 24 hours. Choose one of the practices described earlier and commit to exploring it. not as a means to gain something new, but as a way to recognize what has always been present. Share your experiences in the comments below. What happened when you looked for the controller? What did you discover when you surrendered even briefly to the flow of life? What insights or questions emerged? Remember that this exploration isn't about reaching a conclusion or achieving a particular state. It's about direct recognition of what is already the case beneath the layers of conditioning and belief. You're not alone on this journey. Throughout history and across cultures, countless human beings have recognized the illusion of control and discovered the freedom that lies beyond it. Their testimony stands as an invitation to all who are ready to question the fundamental assumptions of separation and control. The question now is, are you willing to look beyond the familiar boundaries of the known? Are you willing to question the very foundation of who you think you are? Are you willing to discover what remains when the illusion of control dissolves? The doorway is always open. The invitation is always extended. The recognition is always available, here and now, in this very moment. Look closely, and you may find that what you've been seeking through control has been present all along, in the boundless awareness that you already are.